Everyone has been slabbing these days. Book after book, it's become ubiquitous. But do we actually need these grading company slabs? Now, I've sent to all the grading companies before, but I do question if I really need to. I have concerns over CGC consistency, CBCS customer service, quality issues. They're pretty atrocious. I even tried the new guys at EGS. You can see the link below for that one. Every now and then, I take a look around to see what my other options are, and sometimes I am slabbing almost entirely for the protective measure it provides. So, what if I can cut out the middleman and the extra fees? Not to mention the worry of these other people, I don't know, handling my books. So, Comic Skins has popped up on my radar a few times. Honestly, I took a good look previously before I sent my first submission in, and I decided it wasn't what I wanted at the time. And again, I looked at them about a year or so ago. But here I am again. And so I went ahead and ordered a set of comic skins. First off, here's what arrived. It showed up in a fairly plain box that I've since thrown away, and all the elements are individually packaged. Here's the CGC slab. So, would you, at a glance, mistake this for a CGC graded comic? Maybe. Mixed in with the rest of your books, your family, your friends, and even other collectors that don't slab are likely going to be fooled by this case. But let's get back to that a bit later. What about the slab quality itself? They've got an inner sleeve and an outer shell, much the same that you would find with any of the other slabs from an actual grading company. The inner sleeve has a couple of heat-sealed sides and a few open sides. More on that a bit later. The outer shell is clear plastic, pretty clear in fact, as clear as what you might find with the others. But I also think it's not as thick or sturdy as the others. Unlike a sealed slab from one of the grading companies, the Comic Skin slab has interlocking hinges along the top, which allows you to open and close the slab like this. To seal it shut, there are these rubbery or plasticky sliders. They slip over the ridges on the side and bottom, front and back windows of the slab. Now they do the job, but it's actually a bit difficult to keep them locked in. I found myself constantly accidentally bumping them off their track and the slab kind of popping open. The plastics of the slabs, as I said, I don't think it's as thick or resilient as the two main contenders. I have a couple empty CGC slabs from a crack press and resubmit that I did. I tried to get an accurate comparison here. Here's what the two sound like.
Cool, but not hot, like 20 degrees.
The Comic Skin one sounds, I don't know, tinny. It's not as deep in sound as the CGC slab or even a CBCS slab. It's probably fine for most use cases and will definitely protect your book more than if you dropped it without the slab on. But I stick by it not being as hardy as a CGC slab, and certainly not comparable to CBCS, who I think currently have the best slab on the market. Not to mention, they just redesigned their labels, giving them another point in the direction of being one of the better slabs out there. If you're deciding CGC or CBCS, I've got comparison videos on that you should check out as well. So one of the interesting selling points is that these Comic Skin slabs are apparently UV resistant. Now, upon first handling these, I wouldn't have guessed that. In fact, I would have said no way these are UV resilient. However, they do highlight on their website, which you can see behind me there, a video by a customer who used a lens testing machine used in an optometrist's office to test the UV resistance. I will link that video below as well if you want to check it out. The results are surprising, showing that the plastic in use blocks 99% of the tested UV rays. Now, to be honest, I'm at a loss here. The types of plastic used in creating slabs, mainly polycarbonate, are generally UV resistant to a degree. If they haven't added an extra film to these slabs, I can't find any indicator of it on their site, then they are relying on the resistance of the plastic itself. To highlight this a bit better, glass, like the kind used on your house windows, also blocks some UV rays. However, if you've ever had a room where the paint starts to fade, where you get lots of light or furniture, or God forbid your comics, then you know that they aren't that good at blocking UV rays, which is because UV is broken down into various wavelengths and types. Windows are not fantastic at blocking UVA light, which is what tans your skin or your comics. The way to fix it is by doing what I did and adding a UV blocking film to your window. Normally, they also have a tint to them, which also helps refract some of the light. Now, back to the slabs. As I said, I don't see any film on the slabs and no mention of it on their website. So is it UV blocking? The guy's test says yes, but I don't know by what method or which wavelengths or type of UV it's actually protecting from. If these are protected from UV, I would have to assume CGC and CBCS do as well. As I said, their slabs feel a bit more thick, resilient, a little heavier. CBCS certainly does have some UV protection, as I've seen the refraction myself with my UV light. I believe that was in my comparison test between the CGC and CBCS slabs. You can check that out. Link is below as well. Either way, my comic room windows are already protected, so I'm good regardless. So the comics. I've got a couple books here. Cool books, but that I don't necessarily need professionally graded. But if I can sneak them onto display with my other books, that's great, because they are awesome books. This Hulk book, which I'll be giving away, The First Wendigo, as well as the Spectre #1. Personally, I think Spectre is one of the more underrated DC characters. So, getting the comics into the slab. The hinge and channel design of these slabs means that you can easily swap books in and out as long as you have the proper header. Now, about the headers, they have two options. Print from home, which you can design on their website and print off yourself after you've paid them, of course. Or you can fill in the information you want and they will print it for you on a properly cut header. They are thinner than a CGC header. They also don't have anything on the back. Otherwise, they're certainly reminiscent of what CGC is doing, if not straight up knocking them off. Both the comic and the header are slipped into the inner sleeves. On a graded comic, these inner sleeves are sealed closed, but on these comic skins, two of the sides are open, allowing you to open it up and slide your book in. The system works, but it certainly isn't as easy as I'd like if you're dealing with any kind of delicate book. The nature of the sleeve to hold the book securely also means they don't slide in easily. Anything with sus edges, tears, or worrisome spine are definitely a bit of a risk if you aren't careful here. So it took me a couple tries with each book to get these books in a way that it felt safe, where I wasn't going to risk ruining the book. This did mean, though, that I didn't get this Hulk book as far in as I wanted, and so it isn't perfectly centered in the slab. Once it's in the sleeve, you simply put it under the folding front and back covers and close it up. It does present a pretty nice package when all said and done, except for these top hinges. I'd much more prefer some sort of latch or clasp to lock the top and bottom together, rather than these hinges, which definitely stand out and visually distract from your slabbed comic. I'm at a bit of a loss. Who is this for exactly? The community seems to be split into two categories for the majority of collectors. People who like their slabs and want their books graded, at least the important ones, and those who are entirely opposed to slabs who only want raw books. I can't see that group of raw collectors wanting this. It goes against how they collect, so it's not for them. Slab collectors, maybe, but as someone who slabs book, I want authentic grading. I see the value in having a third party give an assessment. It's one of the selling points of slabbing. There is an element of protection and display, and that might be all you're looking for. Then I could see an interest in these. Also, if you like the visual of a slab but are scared to send your books or have others handle your books, then this might be an option. However, The cost of these at $25 to just under $30 for the two that I purchased is exactly in line with the $25 CGC charges for a modern book. If I was choosing one or the other, then the actual grading company wins all day long. At the other CGC tiers, the comic skins become a bit more palatable, but then I probably wouldn't use them. For a vintage book in good shape or a high value book, there is much more incentive to use an actual grading company. So aside from that, what do I think? The slabs themselves are actually fine. They look pretty nice, and like they said, they are UV protectant. So if you're just looking for a way to protect your comics, as I said, this might be an option for you. However, if you are a slab collector or you're looking to take care of your valuable books, I'd go the way of actually getting them graded as opposed to this. If you just want to slide them in something safely, a top loader or one of those other options is probably a little bit easier. Like I said, dealing with getting it into that sleeve and not ripping your comic is a real concern. And if you're worried about protecting something that's vintage or delicate, the top loader is going to be the easier option, the safer option, I think, as opposed to this. Or just send it in and get it graded and really cut down the risk as much as possible that anything happens to your book. Leave a comment below and let me know what you think of these comic skins, if you've tried them or you've tried one of their competitors. I really want to know what people think of these and if you're using them. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, I do these kind of reviews from time to time. I also do a bunch of unboxings. And check out one of those here. I just unboxed a CGC signature series for 2 Grails, Werewolf by Night 32, 33, that I picked up for $11 each. Check it out.